Tonight on CTV News, meet the new BC Conservative leader.
I will unify and take the fight to grassroots British Columbians.
What impact Carrie Lynn Findley's polarizing views could have on BC politics, and how will she get a seat in the legislature?
He has a lifelong history of violence, especially towards women and children.
Notorious child killer Alan Shoenborn is asking for more freedom, why his victim's family fears he will offend again.
We went from having the third highest labor force participation rate for young people in Canada to the lowest.
Where are the jobs for young people? The staggering number of young people who are not working in BC.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Alan Shoenborn, the man found not criminally responsible after killing his 3 young children in Merritt, is seeking a conditional discharge. If the BC Review Board grants the request, it could set Shoenborn on a path to freedom. The shocking deaths happened 18 years ago, but the children's family says he is still a danger to society. CTV's Ben Milger has the story.
At the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital in Coquitlam, Alan Shoenborn appeared before the BC Review Board seeking additional freedoms.
100%. If Alan Shoenborn gets additional freedoms into the community should be very concerned.
In 2008 in Merritt, Shoenborn killed his 10-year-old daughter, Caitlin, and 5 and 8-year-old sons, Max and Corden. Shoenborn has a delusional disorder and was found not criminally responsible following his 2010 conviction. He spent 15 years at the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital, but at Monday's hearing, it came to light that last April he moved to a different facility where he lives in an unstaffed cottage with 3 or 4 other patients. The board heard Shoenborn can be irritable and abrasive, but thanks to injectable antipsychotic meds, his mental illness is in remission. A doctor testified Shoenborn has low motivation, spends most of his time watching television, and rarely uses passes to venture out in public because he fears being recognized. In 2021, he legally changed his name to Ken John Johnson.
He's refusing to do any sort of community reintegration programs. He doesn't want to get a job. So all these factors, even those on their own, would be concerning. Put them all together, plus someone who's been in institutional care for 15 years and has a leaning towards violence. It's a big concern.
Shoenborn is seeking a 12-month conditional discharge, and BC's Director of Forensic Psychiatric Services said she is in support and his risk can be effectively managed. A lawyer for the Crown said BC's Attorney General largely supports the director's submission. Shoenborn chose not to make a statement or answer questions at the hearing. The 5-member BC Review Board has reserved its decision, saying it will have an announcement to make on Shoenborn's future in the coming days. Ben Milger, CTV News, Coquitlam.
New BC Conservative leader Carrie Lynn Findley says she is determined to unite her party, but it won't be easy. Already, the NDP is accusing her of being too extreme, and there are rumblings of another centre party forming to give the new leader a run for her money. CTV's St. Alexander has the story.
Carrie Lynn Findley.
What comes next will probably make this close and hard-fought campaign look like the easy part.
I'm fighting for nothing less than the future of British Columbia, our way of life.
Carrie Lynn Findley won the night by appealing to the right. But the BC Conservative Party is made up of moderate members and others who, like her, are more socially conservative.
Ms. Findley campaigned on those very divisive social issues. That's what her supporters are most interested in. So how she finds a formula to unite the party, to bring on folks who don't share those social values, is a mystery to me.
If she can unify both camps, some pundits say her party has a chance at forming government. But the NDP is already trying to define Findley, accusing the new leader of Trump-style politics.
British Columbia wants leaders that are about bringing people together and not dividing them, not running politics based on fear of your neighbor or of other people that don't look like you, but instead about building bridges and building prosperity for everybody.
Well, I congratulated Leader Findley on her victory. I want to thank her for her very public and consistent support of me and my leadership over many years, something she did emphasize during her leadership race.
A look for Finley to try to woo some of the MLAs who departed. Some quit, some were told to leave. Has she reached out to you?
Carrie Finley has not reached out to me.
And Eleanor Sturko doesn't expect her to, saying they don't share many of the same values. But her phone has been ringing a lot since Finley's victory.
And people are calling me, asking me, what's next, Elle? What should we do? There's a lot of talk from people who might be interested in getting together to have a new party.
She wouldn't say who, but possibilities include Centre BC or a return of the BC Liberals, now called BC United. Because pundits also believe some voters may be feeling lost, those who are not happy with the NDP and are not sure about the Conservatives, who are looking for something more in the middle.
Ms. Finley is a polarizing candidate. She is going to I think, turn off a number of the more moderate style of Conservatives who favor a big tent approach to politics.
Yet clearly she knows how to win and says she can't wait to debate in the legislature. First, though, she needs a seat and will need someone to step aside. Her husband is the MLA for South Surrey.
That's a discussion for him and me to have, and a family discussion.
St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Tragedy in the Sea to Sky region. 2 people are missing after they fell into the lake at Marin Provincial Park while paddleboarding, and they failed to resurface. CTV's Shannon Patterson has more.
Marin Provincial Park along the Sea to Sky Highway just south of Squamish remains closed today after 2 paddleboarders fell in Browning Lake on Saturday afternoon and never resurfaced.
With its picturesque surroundings and clear, calm water, Browning Lake is a popular spot for swimming and paddleboarding. At 3 p.m. Saturday, Sea to Sky RCMP received a call that 2 people had fallen off their paddleboards here and gone under. A police helicopter and Squamish Search and Rescue were called in to look for the missing pair, but they could not be located. The RCMP Underwater Recovery Team will resume the search on Tuesday.
Our hearts go out to the families and loved ones of the paddleboarders. This is a tragic circumstance that no family should have to endure. And I really want to spread water-smart messages to the public so that something like this doesn't happen to you or one of your loved ones this summer.
The Life Saving Society says everyone, regardless of experience or the water conditions, should wear a life jacket when paddleboarding.
It's not enough to carry one with you. If you really need it, seconds are going to matter. So we always say it won't work if you don't wear it. And you'd never get into a vehicle without buckling up your seatbelt. Make sure that you're zipping and clipping when you get on your paddleboard.
Marin Provincial Park will remain closed while the RCMP conduct their investigation and the dive team seeks to recover the bodies of the 2 paddleboarders. Shannon Patterson, CTV News, near Squamish.
Watersheds, water filtration, and water treatment plants are behind picket lines today as outdoor Metro Vancouver workers escalate strike action. The union says picketing locations are up at the Capilano, Seymour, and Coquitlam watersheds, as well as the Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve, the Seymour Capilano filtration plant, and the Coquitlam water treatment plant. It says that could mean brown or cloudy water could come out of drinking taps in the region. But Metro Vancouver says that is not the case, and drinking water quality will not be impacted by any strike action. The union says no negotiations are currently scheduled. More young people in BC are struggling to land that first job. The BC Business Council says our province has the worst youth unemployment in the country. CTV's Martin McMahon reports on why the jobless numbers are rising and how the NDP is responding.
This is the time of year when many young workers are often getting one of their first jobs. But the Business Council of BC has released a report indicating that when the pandemic is excluded, youth unemployment is now at 14%, a level not seen since the financial crisis.
The share of young people that are either working or looking for a job, so those participating in the labor market, has fallen to its lowest level since 2002. We went from having the 3rd highest labor force participation rate for young people in Canada to the lowest.
Across the country, youth unemployment has trended upward from more than 9% in March 2023 to more than 14% in April of this year.
They're struggling to get that first job, that first foot in the door. allure of the work market.
BC's jobs minister points out the 14% youth unemployment rate is in line with the national average.
We want to see that number come down, and that's why we continue to make investments in trades training opportunities, because we know there's employment opportunities. That's why we're making advocacy to the federal government to reduce the amount of temporary foreign workers that are being brought into the province.
But the Conservatives argue more could be done.
This Business Council report reaffirms a lot of what we've been seeing over the last number of years, which is a very scary picture for youth employment in British Columbia. A recent CFIB report showed that BC is one of the only provinces in Canada that does not have an incentive for hiring youth.
Regardless of the policy debate, with the summer school break approaching, young job seekers will be hoping employers are willing to give them a chance, even in a challenging economy. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
A homicide investigation is underway in Maple Ridge after a fight turned fatal over the weekend. The Mounties say they were called to Port Haney Wharf Saturday night for a fight in progress. Officers found a 28-year-old man with life-threatening injuries who later died at the scene. Investigators say the fight does not appear to be gang-related, but they believe it was targeted and that the people knew each other. Meanwhile, in Surrey, the homicide team is investigating a shooting that left one man dead. It happened just after midnight Sunday morning in the area of 138th Street and 62nd Avenue. When officers arrived, they found a man in a vehicle that had hit a power pole, suffering from gunshot wounds. No suspects have been identified. We are learning more about a dramatic police incident in Surrey's Holland Park Friday afternoon that left 2 people dead. Homicide investigators say they believe the man who was shot and killed by police was responsible for 2 stabbings nearby. Police responded to reports of an assault around 1 p.m. and found a 35-year-old woman suffering from stab wounds. Further investigation led them to a nearby building on Old Yale Road, where they found a second victim, a 55-year-old man who later died in hospital. Police say the alleged suspect, a 65-year-old man, lived in the same building. The motivation behind the stabbing is under investigation. The police watchdog has also been called in to investigate the shooting. Metro Vancouver is moving the region into Stage 3 watering restrictions next week due to a low snowpack and an out-of-service pipe. The regional district made the unprecedented decision to impose Stage 2 watering restrictions on May 1st, where no lawn watering is allowed. Despite this, residents used more water this May than they did in May 2025. Under Stage 3 restrictions starting a week from today, all lawn watering is banned, as is filling up pools, hot tubs, and water features. Vehicles and boats can not be washed at home except for windows, lights, mirrors, and license plates for safety. Here's a look from Grouse Mountain, looking down at Burrard Inlet. A gorgeous day today, and we also had a beautiful weekend, and I hear things might heat up tomorrow.
Oh, yes, it is going to be a sizzling as we head into tomorrow. Today, not too bad either. Above seasonal temperatures under sunny skies. 22 at the harbor. You're looking at 25 degrees in Burnaby and in North Vancouver. 28 right now in Surrey and 27 degrees in Chilliwack. As we head through the overnight, we'll see a few clouds. It'll be a warm 13 degrees overnight, and tomorrow we're going to add some sizzle to that sunshine. 25 degrees near the water, 29 degrees further inland. So make sure you slap on that sunscreen because the UV index will be 7 or high. And after tomorrow, it starts to get cooler. I've got your full forecast coming up.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to really
It's going to feel like summer.
Yeah. All right, thanks,
You're welcome.
There was widespread outrage when a jet skier hit a gray whale in the waters off Stanley Park last month. Tonight, the Vancouver Park Board chair will introduce a motion calling for restrictions or even a ban on jet skis in Burrard Inlet. A Vancouver resident angered by this video of a jet skier hitting a gray whale in the waters off Stanley Park last month created a change.org petition calling for restrictions on jet skis in the city's harbor. It got the attention of the park board chair, who will introduce a motion at tonight's meeting.
We are seeking to prohibit or substantially restrict the use of personalized motorized watercraft on Burrard Inlet.
It's a very busy harbor, and the motorized watercraft in our area have hardly any restrictions on them in terms of speed limits or places they can and cannot go. So that's what this motion asks for. It restricts the jet skis so that this incident can never happen again.
The Vancouver Park Board does not have jurisdiction over waterways, so it cannot actually ban jet skis. The motion's asking for support from regional and federal authorities to take steps in that direction. Boats sailing off BC's southern coast will now have to stay further away from orcas. New rules that come into effect today state that boats must maintain a 1,000-meter distance from southern resident killer whales. That's up from 400 meters. Whale experts say the endangered population is sensitive to acoustic disturbances from vessels. The new regulations make Canada more in sync with our American counterparts, which implemented a 914-meter distance last year. The approach distance for other whales remains 200 meters. Calls to revamp our EI system as more Canadians turn to food banks to get by. Also ahead.
It was just like some of the most fun I've ever had on set.
Another Canadian hockey series is gaining a worldwide following, much of it shot at UBC. That story when CTV News at 6 continues. Stay with us. Another steamy hockey TV series started shooting season 2 today in Vancouver following its massive success. Off Campus is a book adaptation and is currently the #1 show on Amazon Prime. And as CTV's Yasmin Gandam reports, the show features local talent and gives UBC students some bragging rights.
So what, I help you study and you play my fake boyfriend?
Off Campus is shot on campus at UBC, where the university is transformed into the fictional Briarview in Boston.
It was just like some of the most fun I've ever had on set. The crew was incredible. The cast was incredible.
The show is filled with Canadian representation, from on-screen and behind the scenes to homegrown music. 14 Vancouver Film School alumni helped with season 1, including actress Amira Anderson.
We don't get to see that very often anymore. It's a lot of like talent has flown in, and we don't make use of what's here. So it was really nice to be surrounded by that.
The show breaking records with more than 37 million global viewers in less than 2 weeks. It's a massive bounce back for BC's filming industry that has seen challenges with the COVID-19 pandemic and a writer's strike.
I think we're all cautiously optimistic. You nailed it. It's been a really, really tough year, not just for British Columbia, but globally for the motion picture industry.
Canadian band The Beaches saw a boost with their song experiencing a nearly 900% increase in streams after being featured in the show.
She's a fire sign, and I don't really know what that means. I'm a cold.
Notable campus spots include the Irving Learning Center and, of course, the Thunderbird Sports Center, which stands in for the hockey arena and locker rooms, bringing BC to center stage.
Yes, there's more work to do always. We want to make sure that we are top of mind always when people look at where to bring production, but something like Off Campus is just, it makes us incredibly proud.
The hope is for more films and TV shows to showcase Canadian talent, and Off Campus may just be what the industry needed to prove its worth.
It's just kind of a spark of hope that I think we all really needed.
Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Vancouver.
Food Banks Canada is renewing its call for major changes to employment insurance as its latest poverty report card warns more Canadians are falling through the cracks. The report found that the cost of food and shelter has risen by about 30% in the past 5 years. But income and benefits have not kept pace, forcing more people to turn to food banks. The report points to a broken EI system. It's a federal program, but eligibility and benefit lengths vary by region, making it harder for part-time and precarious workers to access support.
We're seeing more people with part-time, casual, or precarious jobs who are struggling to make ends meet, access our services, and they're not covered by the current system.
In the report card, BC scored a D, slightly below the national average of D+. It shows British Columbians are dealing with higher poverty levels and housing costs than the rest of the country. Food Banks Canada is urging the province to deliver a promised grocery rebate, keep investing in affordable housing, and increase social assistance. The province has unveiled its first ever anti-racism action plan.
This plan lays out 37 government actions that government will take over the next 2 years to remove the real barriers Indigenous and racialized people in BC face when accessing our services.
The plan focuses heavily on protections for temporary foreign workers, international students, and racialized people working in the gig economy. It also factors in the rise of AI, with a new group set to develop safeguards and prevent the technology from reinforcing racial bias. A way to let your kids have smartphones without them being glued to social media. That story coming up, also ahead.
You would have to have border stations in Saskatchewan and British Columbia and have tariffs.
Putting a price on Alberta separating from Canada. Premier Danielle Smith says it could cost hundreds of billions of dollars. That's ahead. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says separating from Canada would cost hundreds of billions of dollars, with that number likely to go up. Smith's government is planning to put out a costing document before August to determine the full price tag of Alberta becoming its own country. CTV's Tyson Fedor reports.
Premier Danielle Smith says Alberta would need to assess almost everything found at a national level to determine a financial cost to separation.
We now have a 5% NATO commitment. We've never had a national defense before. What would that cost? That's about $25 billion. We'd have to take over OAS and child tax benefit, probably another $10 or $15 billion. We'd have to set up the infrastructure for CPP and EI.
The UCP government says Alberta's share of the national debt is around $170 billion, with $10 billion annual interest payments. The Premier says the cost will be enormous if Albertans vote to start the process of leaving Confederation.
I think it's responsible for us to be very forthright about the costs associated with what it is that is being proposed here, so people can make an informed decision.
Alberta Finance Minister Jason Nixon is expected to have a cost analysis sometime this summer ahead of October's referendum. Next month, one prominent pro-separatist promises to release a white paper outlining the policy and finances of independence.
I think that it's important to have the discussion, and it's been going on for a while, and people are going to do what they want to do, so let them, I guess, and see what happens.
It's a big waste of money. I've been here all my life. I'm Canadian.
On her radio show over the weekend, Smith says she takes the separatists at their word, at least in terms of petition support, even though 301,000 signatures have not been validated by Elections Alberta. It comes as the organization says there has been misunderstanding and misinformation around Thomas Lukaszik's Forever Canadian petition, which asked Albertans if they want to remain in Canada.
There was no clear idea of what no meant. The referendum question proposed was, do you want to remain in Canada, yes or no? And so we had to do some work on defining what no meant.
Elections Alberta says in a statement that the proposal put forward by Thomas Lukaszik did not seek to amend the Constitution or propose new legislation. The only available option for the initiative was a policy proposal.
Instead of doing the right thing and resolving this issue in the legislature, the Premier is trying really hard to appease the separatists, and she's putting us through a $90 million exercise that is going to divide this province and detract from investment in this province.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
The federal opposition party is taking aim at the Prime Minister, saying Mark Carney has plunged Canada into a, quote, liberal recession. Statistics Canada reported Friday Canada's economy contracted slightly for 2 straight quarters, which meets some definitions of a technical recession. Today, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre accused Carney of avoiding accountability because the Prime Minister missed question period in the House of Commons. Meanwhile, the Liberals are blaming the economic slump on the U.S. trade war.
Canada is the most integrated country in the world with the United States. They have declared a trade war on us. This side of the House understands that. We will control what we can control.
The leader of the opposition should stop running down Canada and join us.
It's the Liberal Prime Minister that's running down our economy and then running away from accountability for it. Where is he anyway?
Poilievre has called for an emergency debate on the recession, but the House Speaker says it doesn't meet the requirements. Timeshare packages can seem like an affordable way to enjoy vacations. One family's hurdle, though, when they tried to exit. Also ahead, the round-the-clock mission to help a sea otter found in rough shape on a Vancouver Island beach. What little Clamato needs in the coming days. That's ahead.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. A large white cloud building over a winding path at Jerry Salina Park in Maple Ridge.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
The volcano is at it again, with lava seen bubbling up last night. The National Weather Service had predicted an episodic fountaining eruption either Sunday or today. Fountaining episodes typically last less than 12 hours, but ash can remain in the air longer depending on wind and weather. The volcano on Hawaii's Big Island has been erupting on and off since late 2024. You've heard of cats getting stuck in trees, but what about a bear cub? That is exactly what one Ottawa family is dealing with in their backyard.
Right now, it's very calm, seems docile. So we're just going to kind of wait it out and see what happens. Hopefully it'll come down, jump up on the right side of the fence, not on our side, and there will be no intervention unless that happens.
Animal control officers are on standby after the bear was discovered during an early morning dog walk. Residents are hoping the cub eventually climbs down and wanders back towards the countryside on its own. Rescuers say they are working around the clock to care for a sea otter found on a Vancouver Island beach. The emaciated adult male sea otter named Clamato was rescued from Chesterman Beach in Tofino by a federal fisheries officer over the weekend. It was flown to the Vancouver Aquarium Marine Mammal Rescue, which is now fundraising to support the cost of his care. They say his condition remains serious and that he will need blood work, imaging, and a thorough physical exam in the coming days. Well, the buyer of a Ford truck that became home to a family of robins can finally drive it off the dealer's lot in Kansas. Remember these chicks? We first told you about them a couple weeks ago after they hatched in a nest built above the front wheel of an F-250. The discovery kept the truck parked because federal law protects nesting migratory birds. But now the wait is over after the birds flew the coop.
Yay.
I like that, empty nesters.
I bet the buyer of that truck is so happy those birds finally flew off.
It's about time, but I'd still marvel at the beautiful nest that they make. It's just perfectly round, isn't it?
I hope they kept it as a souvenir.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Happy first day of June, believe it or not. In May, we saw average highs of 18.3 degrees above the seasonal average of 16.9. It was mild through the overnight as well, with an average of 10.1, and it was very dry. We only saw 17.1 millimeters in the month of May, the seasonal average at 59.1 millimeters of rain. No rain in the forecast for the next couple of days, all thanks to this ridge of high pressure, as you can see, dominating the whole province, with the exception of the southeast corner, getting wraparound showers tomorrow morning because of that low in Alberta, but it will dry up as we head through the afternoon. So ridge of high pressure bringing us warm temperatures as we head into tomorrow, but then a low moves its way in, bringing in cooler conditions as we head into the second half of the work week. So this is what we can expect as we head into tomorrow. Tonight, the sun sets at 9:10 under a mix of sun and cloud. A few clouds at midnight, mostly sunny skies, 18 degrees to start off your day. Come noon, we'll see a high of 22 degrees. 3 o'clock under sunny skies. Inland temperatures reach 29 degrees. Make sure you slap on that sunscreen. 6 o'clock, clear and calm. The UV index is 7 or high, so very high out there. Again, sunscreen is necessary. You'll see a lot of sunshine for the central coast and central interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Mostly sunny skies for Port Hardy tomorrow with a high of 22. You'll warm to 26s for Campbell River and Comox. Lots of sunshine for the South Island from Tofino right down to Victoria. Temperatures between 21 and 30 degrees. Mostly sunny skies for the Sunshine Coast at 27. A touch warmer up the Sea to Sky Highway. 28 for Squamish and for us across the Lower Mainland. Blue skies and sunshine with temperatures between between 25 degrees near the water, 29 degrees inland. Clouding over on Wednesday with a high of 21. Mix of sun and cloud on Thursday at 20. And then rain returns for Friday, cooling things down to 15 degrees into Saturday morning before it clears out. On Sunday, we'll start off cloudy, 17 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon. Warming back up on Monday, 19 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. So much needed rain. I don't think we'll see a lot of it, but we'll take it on Friday, even though it'll come with cooler temperatures.
Can't believe how hot it's going to get tomorrow. Port Alberta might get up to 30
It'll get
degrees.
up to 30, and yeah, inland temperatures here will squeak by close to that 30-degree mark as well.
All right, thanks a lot, Anne. The negative effects of social media on young children have parents searching for ways to keep their kids safe online. One mom in Ottawa says she's found a way to limit her son's time on the apps while fostering his independence. CTV's Kimberly Johnson explains.
What Teo Knight loves about his cell phone is being able to listen to his favorite music.
I just need headphones in my phone just to listen to my own music.
And while this Android phone may seem like any other, it's actually set up in a way that limits his access to certain content. No social media, no app store, and no internet browser. Just the ability to call, text, and access Spotify.
We want them to have access to music. We want them to be able to text us when soccer practice ends early. That doesn't mean that we want them watching endless videos off by themselves kind of thing.
He has a playlist that's for like his before soccer that pumps him up.
It's part of a pilot project started by parent Anne Fizette, which she has dubbed Boom Track.
I was just trying to figure out how can I create something that would satisfy him and what he needs in terms of like the developmental milestones that he's hitting, and at the same time protect him.
She purchased an Android phone and when setting it up used a management device on her computer to control what gets placed on the phone. It's similar to what workplaces will put on employees' phones to restrict some apps or abilities.
This isn't something incredibly new. It's just we haven't used it in terms of for kids.
Still, one tech expert warns the smartphone technology still exists under the surface of the phone, and parents should be cautious.
Any tech-savvy kid can go online and figure out how to bypass them and regain access to app stores and browsers and other features.
Today, Fizette says that she has nearly a dozen parents participating in the project. She's currently covering all of the setup costs, but hopes to expand this to a business if there's enough interest.
It feels like I'm actually part of everything and I'm not missing anything.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
The world wants more Celine Dion. How many more shows she's adding to her comeback?
I just want to get out of it.
Warnings about timeshare pitches. Make sure you read the fine print. One family's difficulty in getting out of the commitment. That's ahead. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 72 cents U.S. Oil up just under $5, closing at around 92 a barrel. Gold saw an $86 drop. On the stock market, the TSX lost 34 points. The Dow Jones up 46 points on the day. Postal workers have approved a new contract, voting overwhelmingly in favor of a new tentative agreement with Canada Post. The deal comes after more than 2 years of labor disputes. The union, representing about 55,000 workers, says it voted more than 85% in favor of the 5-year deal, which includes wage increases in the first 2 years. In a statement, Canada Post thanked Canadians and businesses for their patience over the last 2 years of labor strife, saying the Crown Corporation will work hard to regain their trust. It's estimated about 500,000 Canadians own timeshares, although the majority of properties are outside the country. You can also purchase timeshares in Canada, and if you do, it's best to study contracts carefully before making a commitment. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
I just want to get out of it.
Gerlin Galligan of Toronto saw an ad on Facebook to have a 3-day, 2-night stay at a resort in Collingwood. It was a promotional offer with a discounted price, and she had to agree to sit through a sales presentation.
They offered us timeshare.
Galligan signed a contract to pay almost $22,000 for a vacation package and agreed to pay $205 per month for 2 years. After that, the payments will increase to $309 at almost 17% interest for 96 months. She says she was unaware there were also annual fees.
Like, if I should have known that I will be paying $1,200 to $1,600 yearly, even if you're not using the resort, I would never sign that.
She signed the contract in October and decided in November she wanted to cancel it, but by then it was too late as the 10-day cooling off period had passed.
There's no way out. It's very unfair for consumers that it's only 10 days.
Galligan signed the contract with Vitality Vacations of Collingwood. A spokesperson told CTV News Vitality Vacations operates in full compliance with Ontario consumer protection laws. Ms. Galligan contacted our team to cancel. At that point, her loan had already been processed and funded. CTV News reached out to the Canadian Resort and Travel Association, which tries to educate consumers on timeshares.
You are obligated under a contract. There's a loan that's involved. There's a financing that's involved in this, and there's an obligation to stay for the term.
Getting out of a timeshare contract is difficult, and companies that claim they can cancel timeshare contracts for a fee may not be able to.
That is absolutely not real. Some people take advantage of poor consumers that are just trying to find an exit.
Galligan says she regrets signing the contract.
I want to share my story for other people to be very careful into getting into timeshares.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Her heart will go on, and now Celine Dion's comeback run will too.
My heart will go on and on.
The Quebec superstar revealing today that she is adding 10 dates to her Paris residency, citing overwhelming demand. The new dates are slated for May 2027, and it brings her total shows in the French capital to 26. She's just returned to the stage following a 6-year hiatus after being diagnosed with stiff person syndrome. It's a Canadian collab you didn't know you needed. Beaver Tails and Kraft Dinner team up for some savory summer snacks. Details just ahead. Plus, Robert's gift. Adam finds out the connection between John Travolta and a boy who grew up to become a pinball wizard. Next on the Sawatsky Signoff. Right now, here's a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
With the healthcare system under strain, how much more can it take during the World Cup? Tuesday on Your Morning Vancouver, from paramedics navigating road closures to emergency wait times, what can we expect with an influx of international visitors? Plus, what we're learning about how even Canadians with jobs are struggling to put food on the table. And a special FIFA surprise for a deserving family. We'll see you in the morning.
I gotta change my number.
Will soon be back on the court, teasing her return to professional tennis with a Nike ad on social media today. The tennis legend has accepted an invitation to play doubles at the upcoming Queen's Club Grass Court tournament in London starting next week. Williams has not competed since the 2022 U.S. Open. A group of Canadian acrobats is about to be featured on America's Got Talent. Their episode will air tomorrow night during the show's season 21 premiere. And as CTV's Amanda Anderson reports, it's the first time the group has performed together on such a big stage.
When these girls got involved in acro, they never imagined where it would take them.
It came really fast, and it was just it was kind of like a fever dream. It was just really exciting and cool.
20 girls between the ages of 7 and 21, known as the Supernova Acro Crew, put together an audition tape for America's Got Talent.
And they said, yes, we want to see this act. We want to see you. So we flew down in March and went in front of the judges in the theater on the biggest stage that we have ever been on and ever will be on, I'm sure.
An audition that will be featured on the show's premiere episode Tuesday night.
You got this. Cool experience to do with a team. And yeah, it was just very cool and exciting.
5, 6, 7, 8. They gave a performance that made their coach proud.
To be on that stage with that kind of pressure, there was thousands of people in the audience. It was loud. You've got these 3 famous judges right in front of you. You know, they're used to doing these small dance competitions in Edmonton or Calgary, you know, and this was a big deal. But they handled the pressure like absolute pros.
I was really nervous, but like I had so much fun with everyone, and they're like basically all like my family, so I loved it.
They can't say much about their routine just yet, but they did say they weren't alone during their performance.
And there has been lots of acro dance and dance teams and these things on America's Got Talent. So we had to come up with something different and unique to make a statement, and that's what you'll see tomorrow.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
2 iconic Canadian food brands are teaming up for some new summer snacks. Beaver Tails and Kraft Dinner are collaborating on a couple of dishes. The first is called a KD Takeover Beaver Dog. It's an all-beef hot dog wrapped in Beaver Tails pastry topped with Kraft Dinner and ketchup. The second, the KD Takeover Poutine, a loaded poutine with Kraft Dinner, bacon, and chives. They're available until August 9th at locations in Whistler, White Rock, and Victoria.
Take all my money.
There's a lot going on there.
There is, yeah. The hot dog looks great. I would definitely want to try that.
Sans ketchup, though. No ketchup from
same here.
No, I love ketchup on KD. You gotta have
It's a controversial thing.
Yeah.
But mixing it with all the beaver tails and all, I've kind of lost track of what's going together.
Mixed with a beaver tail.
Sorry, beaver, the dog. The dog. It's just weird. I would try it once, right?
Me too.
Okay, Lauren, what's coming up tonight?
Well, Mijang, video has surfaced on social media of people vandalizing a rainbow crosswalk in Surrey. We'll have the latest on that police investigation. And a busy park board meeting tonight, including a decision on rules around jet skis in Vancouver coastal waters after a gray whale was hit back in May. We'll have more on the vote and the actual jurisdiction that commissioners have in all of this.
All right, thanks a lot, Lauren. Well, it was a comment from Kirstie Alley that helped one woman understand how her son was different from other kids. Now grown up, Adam finds out how that Burnaby man has fully utilized his unique potential, earning international attention for playing pinball on this encore edition of the Sawatsky Signoff.
As Kathy Gagnon looks back on when her son Robert was cast alongside John Travolta as a baby double in Look Who's Talking 2,
Robert's got the nicest smile.
she recalls how the movie's other star, Kirstie Alley, asked her a concerning question.
She asked me if I ever had Robert's hearing tested.
Her boy was interacting with others differently than the other kids on set. But rather than being deaf, Robert was eventually diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum.
So I tried to find out all the information I could. That was the way I coped with it.
And instead of trying to fix a problem, Kathy and her husband were compelled to support their son's unique potential, which led Robert to discover a pinball machine for the first time.
Wow. Is this some really cool, like, high-tech toy? It felt good. It felt adventurous.
An adventure where, after learning how to make the ball go wherever he wanted it to go, Robert was the hero.
The excitement is always fun for me. It makes me feel in the zone.
And Robert's talent transformed the pinball-loving boy
It's kind of like the autism would disappear. He was just so focused on the machine.
into a real-life pinball wizard.
And he would attract people, and he seemed to enjoy it.
Robert proved to be so passionate about pinball and so good at playing it, he started amassing machines and winning tournaments on both sides of the border before entering the World Championships as a contender.
The quality of the best play in the world under a pressure situation from Robert Gagnon.
Oh, it felt amazing. This ball could be worth $10,000 American. This is like a dream.
A dream, after competing against the best pinball players on the planet, that Robert made a reality by winning the Worlds.
It felt really cool, actually, to be called world champion. We got that beautiful trophy.
While Robert continues to win tournaments, be embraced by the pinball community, and earn fans around the globe, what Kathy is most grateful for is that her unique boy has grown up to be a happy man.
And when he smiles, his whole face just lights up. And to see that, I think that's what made me the most proud.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Burnaby.
The Sawatsky Signoff, brought to you by 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Oh, football's fun, isn't it?
So hard.
It is.
Good for
It's
him.
harder than it looks, right? You think, oh, this is a simple game.
But congratulations, he's amazing.
Yeah, it takes a lot to be a world champion.
Definitely. Good for him. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A beautiful shot of Royal Roads University in Victoria. Thanks, Iona, for sending this gorgeous photo in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well, so email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Looks like a castle, doesn't it?
It sure does. I love that building.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great evening.
Good night.